Yo YouTube and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be showing you guys every competitive class for rank play coming out next week. Sit back, relax, and let's break down. Okay, starting off. Now this I believe is Scrappy's class, okay? Toronto Ultra Scrappy. This is going to be the long range assault rifle build for the MCW. So MCW and the Rival 9, they are the two guns you want to use for competitive, with the Renetti being the pistol. So starting off with class 1, let's get right into it. So as you can see here, got a stun grenade. Obviously, you know, in the CDL rules, you can only use a stun grenade, so that's going to be standard. In terms of lethal, right, you have two options. You have frag grenade or semtex. Now, with an assault rifle, me personally, I prefer frag grenade, okay? Because I feel like with a frag grenade, one, you could chuck it a bit further away, and two, it just allows you for a bit more time to make plays with a frag grenade. I think they're better with an assault rifle because you can cook it, and overall, I think it's better for certain scenarios. So for an AR, this is the class I would use. Definitely want to run a trophy system, 100%. And then you go over to the gloves. Now, there was a lot of talk between marksman and assault and stuff, and also not really quick grip, but yeah, mainly I'm marksman and assault. I personally go with assault. I think a lot of people do as well. I think assault is the best one. Just gives you that ADS speed. I've always used assault. I haven't really tried marksman, but I'm a big fan of using assault gloves. So yeah, that's up to you. In terms of the boots, you definitely want to use covert sneakers. Going to give you that silent feel. And by the way, these are the attachments. Sorry, these are the perks for every single class, as you can see. So that's what you kind of want to go with. Going over to the gear now. I don't know anyone that uses tac mask. You probably could have a tac mask class, but to be honest, I love EOD padding. I think nades are a lot more stronger, and just having EOD padding protects you a bit more. So these are my kind of perks you see for every single class. Now, what I do have is I actually have one MCW class with a frag grenade and one with a semtex, then the same with the rival. So I've got a rival with a frag, a rival with a semtex. Now let's get straight into the attachments and break them down. So for the long range build, this is going to be a bit more towards the long range, but also more for strafe, okay? So this actual weapon here, before we break down each attachment, if you see in the firing range, it's not bad in terms of the strafe speed as well. So this is the kind of, I mean, this is the build I've been using, to be honest with you, but I just found the second build today, which is going to be Kenny's build, which we'll break down in a second as well. But as you see this firing range, it's not bad at all, you know, it's a decent build. Let's see what this one is. So starting off with the attachments, that's the same. These top three attachments are the same in majority of builds you work with. So the barrel, I'll say every single MCW build will have this barrel, okay? This is going to make it just have more bullet velocity, and you definitely need this, especially because it gets rid of hip fire spread, which doesn't really matter. So this barrel is a must-have. Then go over to the stock. This stock, again, is a must-have stock, okay? I don't know why it's the best stock. I don't really care too much. All I know is that every single pro, every single build has this barrel and this stock, okay? So those two are must-haves. Now, going over to the attachment with the optic. Now, slate reflector or MK3 are the two main ones, right? Me personally, I switch between the two all the time. I've recently been, you know, going with the slate reflector. I started off with the MK3. We'll go through that now. This is the MK3. I think it's a lot cleaner. I think it's a lot cleaner because it's new. It looks nice, but I think the slate is a bit better. However, even looking at it now, it does look cleaner. So it does depend on your personal preference. Don't stress too much about it. Some pros use slate, some use MK3. Now, I have to say MK3 was more popular at the start. It is now slate reflector being a bit more popular. I'm seeing a lot more of the pros use a slate reflector, okay? So I will say that. Going over to the new attachments now, we have, again, this is Scrappy's build, okay? In Scrappy's build, we have the L4R flash hider. And what you can see from here is it gives you muzzle flash concealment. I don't know what that means, but it does help your recoil control, just using a tad of ADS. Now, because he is more of a long-range AR, bit more of a beam towards his shot and stuff, I think this weapon allows you to have a bit more of a long range build. So what I've actually done is I've made two classes, one for long range, as you can see here, and one for short range. Now what I mean by that is this gun here will be used for like Skid Row, for maybe Karachi, more of those medium range maps. And this weapon will be used more for Terminal, for Invasion, those really long range maps where you're really going to have those line of sights at a distance, okay? So that's what I'm doing personally. So we go over here, we got the L4R flash ride, as I mentioned, it's got recoil control and gun kick control +2, which is very effective. And then we go over to the DR6 hand stop. Now, as you can see from the hand stop, right? Aim walking speed. The reason why this is so effective is because this is going to allow you to have a bit more strafe speed, okay? And this is why I think this build is a little bit different to Kenny's build, which we'll get to in a second. Kenny's build is actually this one, but again, we'll get to that in a second. What this build here does allows you to have a bit more of a shot at range while having a bit more strafe speed. So I think most people will prefer this kind of build here, especially for those medium to long range maps. And if you guys prefer that slower play style, you don't have to be slower. I take that back. It's just more of a longer range AR. This is is probably the most balanced class. I definitely think you should try it, and overall I think it's a very good class. Make sure to screenshot that. Now going over to the second AR build, okay, very similar as I mentioned, very similar, and don't worry, we'll get to the Renetti just after this. I'll go back and forward. So as I mentioned, the top three, exact same thing, okay? Slate or MK3, up to you. Regal heavy stock, exact same. 16.5 barrel, exact same. Now, billeted break. What does this have? Vertical recoil control by 3. That is massive, okay? So the difference between this and the other one is the bullet velocity and the horizontal recoil. So with this weapon here, you're going to see it has a little bit more horizontal recoil, but you can't really tell in my opinion. Oh, wrong class. I was going to say, okay, that's even more. Okay, if I go back here, in my opinion, you can't really tell too much in terms of the actual recoil. Actually, no, you can. At range, you can definitely tell. And I think this is Kenny's build, and this is why I think it's better for that medium to short range, just because it's a bit hard to control at that distance. You can see it's not the end of the world, but I definitely prefer the other build. So for example, this one, I personally wouldn't use this on like invasion or like terminal, just because that's got so many line of sights and head glitches. I personally would go with build 1. But for like maps like Skid Row and Karachi, I think this is perfect. Now, another reason why this build is so good, right? If we go back here, you lose a little bit of bullet velocity, okay? So for invasion, it won't be that good. But with the vertical recoil, and what you get is you get gun kick control and firing aim stability. At the medium range, this is perfect. Now, the reason why I think this is really good at mid-range is actually the, the underbarrel. If you look at the hand stop, which is what we just had, look what you get. You get aim walking speed and ADS, okay? So you get a bit more strafe speed, which is always handy. But if you look here, right, you get ADS speed, but you also get 2 sprint to fire speed. And I think the 2 sprint to fire speed is very effective, right? Because what happens is this allows your gun to be a little bit faster than the other one. So when you're pulling your weapon up at that close range gunfights, it's going to be slightly quicker. And I've actually tried this out, and I thought this was pretty good in terms of the hand stop. So yeah, this is the kind of build that, what's his face? I forgot his name, Kenny builds. Kenny does, even though this one has movement speed the other way, it's a bit weird. I don't know, the attachments are kind of all over the place, but I've tested some out over the last few weeks. I've looked at the pros, and these are the 2 most popular builds, okay? So this is what you want to use for the short and medium ones, like I mentioned many times. Skid Row and Karachi, probably your best 2 bets. And then for the other maps, you know, like Terminal, I feel like I'm missing a map. But anyways, Terminal and Invasion, I probably would just go with this one. Oh, Sub-Base as well. Sub-Base is probably mix and match. I probably would go long-range Sub-Base just because there's more headies and stuff. I don't know. I prefer Sub-Base. I'd probably use this one. Again, it's completely up to you. To be honest, I mainly do use this one. But I'm going to start implementing this second one as well, and just to see how it plays, okay? So again, you know, up to you guys. Try out how you want. Now, Renetti. This Renetti class is the same. It's standard for every single class you have. The only difference is if you want a slate reflector or not. So if we go through here, this is the gun without a slate reflector. As you see, it's not too bad, but with the recoil, it kind of bounces a bit, right? So I'm not sure if that's a reason why, but I feel like that's, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but a lot of people seem to use a slate reflector, and I think it's because the weapon bounces quite a bit. Now with the slate reflector, you can see, although it bounces, it's a lot easier to manage, right? So that's why I think people use a slate reflector. But if we go back, a lot of the attachments are GA'd. Can you get a better build? Absolutely, but a lot of the attachments are banned by the pros. Now, when rank play comes out, I will do a best rank play class setup video, which is allowing everything in rank play, the stuff the pros don't use. But for now, this is the pro setup, okay? Going over, we have the MLX short competition barrel. So again, I don't think you can use any of these other ones. I'm not really sure, but all I know is that this is the one the pros use. It's very efficient. You get a lot more movement speed, sprint to fire. This gun is ridiculous with this barrel. Again, slate reflector, it's completely up to you. It doesn't really have any negatives at all, so it's again completely up to you. In terms of the rear grip, we're once again going to go with this one. Going to give you some aim walking speed, sprint to fire, and movement speed. So very good build. The Renetti is incredibly broken, and I highly recommend you use it in your club. Well, it's the only pistol you can use, so make sure you use these attachments. Going over to the Rival 9 now. There's only one Rival 9 class, and this is it. Okay, we're going to break it down, not spend too long. Go over to the barrel. This is the barrel on site now. Then we go over to the muzzle. We got the Purifier muzzle brake, giving you a bit more recoil control. The DR6 hand stop, again, a bit more of that strafe speed, sprint to fire, movement speed, all that good stuff. Then we go over to the Rival Vice Assault grip, gives you a bit more control. And the stock to finish it off is going to be the MTZ, whatever that's called. I cannot say that. Okay, anyways, that's the class setup. Now, the Rival 9 is incredibly good. Is it better better than a lot of people say it's not as good as the MTW. I disagree, and I'm a sub player. I love using the sub. I think the only difference is the maps are not made for it, okay? I think that's all it is. I think the maps are just not made for it. So if you can play in certain line of sights, I think you can actually get away with using this on Karachi and definitely on Skid Row. And to be honest, even certain hills on sub base, okay? I think it's all hill dependent. But yeah, I'm going to maybe make a separate video of when you can use a submachine gun. But these are the 4 classes. Remember to screenshot them, save the video. If you enjoyed, drop a like, and I'll catch you guys for another video tomorrow. Peace.